ਵਿਸ਼ੇਸ਼ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਬੜੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਨਰੇਬਲ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਅਹਿਮਦ ਹੁਸੈਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਐਂਡ ਰਿਫਿਊਜੀ ਐਂਡ ਸਿਟੀਜ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ। ਉਹਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੜੇ ਬਿਜ਼ੀ ਸਕੈਜੂਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢਿਆ। ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦੀ ਹਾਂ। ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਆਰ ਸਟੂਡੀਓਜ਼।
Thank you for having me.
How are you, sir?
Very good.
Thanks for your time. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay, I'll go straight to the questions. ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਵਾਲ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਜੀ ਕਿ ਪਿਛਲੇ 2 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤੀਆਂ ਕੀ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਕੀ ਇਹ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੈਟੀਸਫਾਈਡ ਹੈਗੇ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ। Since you took over as a minister,
yes.
What are your achievements and are you satisfied with what you have done so far?
Well, better is always possible, as Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says, but I can tell you we've really made a big difference in people's lives. We have reunited more families than ever before. We have made sure that the immigration process is much faster. We've eliminated a lot of backlogs that we received from the previous Conservative government. I can tell you that in terms of bringing in skills and talent to Canada, we've been ambitious as a government to introduce new programs to do that. We have raised immigration levels as a response to businesses who've asked us to allow them to bring more employees and more workers and more skills to grow our economy. So you now have an immigration system that responds to Canada's economic needs, reunites families, provides protection for refugees, but also in the process we have done a lot of work to eliminate backlogs in the immigration system and bring down wait times. And I can give you examples of that if you'd like.
Sure.
For example, it used to take 24 months from start to finish for the process of becoming a Canadian citizen. Once you apply until the end, it was 24 months. It's now under 12 months.
Oh, that's
so we've cut it by almost more than half. Spousal sponsorship used to take 26 months on average, sometimes higher. It's now guaranteed 12 months or less. This is across the board. It doesn't matter where your spouse is being sponsored from. If you look at, there's even more dramatic improvements. If you look at the PR cards,
right?
You know, something as simple as applying for a PR card used to take 8 to 10 months.
Right.
It now takes 13 days.
Oh, that's great.
You know, that's a dramatic drop in wait times. And for a PR card renewal, again, it used to take months to do that. It now takes 27 days. So across the board, you're seeing those improvements, dramatic improvements. You're seeing more facilitation than ever before. You're seeing $31 billion pumped into our economy from visitors and students.
Right.
That's a huge amount of economic contribution to Canada. You're seeing the global skills strategy, which we introduced in June 2017, has resulted in the arrival of 26,000 of the most highly skilled people in the world. And each one of them is estimated to have created about 10 jobs.
Right.
That's a lot of prosperity being created in Canada. And finally, with our new programs like the Atlantic Immigration Program, the newly announced Rural Program, the increase we've made in the Provincial Nominee Program, you're seeing the benefits of immigration spread right across the country, not just in the big cities. So it's making a difference, and we're very proud of our record. We were left behind when we came into office. We were left with an immigration system that was broken, that was underfunded. We have done a lot of work to turn that around, and you can see that people are much happier with the system.
That's great. ਇਹਨਾਂ ਜਵਾਬ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਕਿ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ, ਜਦੋਂ ਦਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਟੇਕ ਓਵਰ ਕੀਤਾ, ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਕੰਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਸਮਾਂ ਵੇਟ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਘਟ ਗਿਆ, ਬੈਕਲੌਗ ਘਟਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ। ਈਵਨ PR ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ 13 ਦਿਨ ਹੀ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰਿਨਿਊਲ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 7-8 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ। ਯਾਨੀ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿਹਦਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਲੰਬਾ ਸਮਾਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਸਮਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਘਟ ਗਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ। ਅਗਲਾ ਸਵਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਣ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਵੇਂ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੈਂਟਸ, ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤਾ ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਸੈਟਲ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਅਜਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਤੇ ਬਾਹਰਲੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਰਹਿ ਸਕਣ। ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ, newcomers coming to the country, most of them they like to settle in the metro areas. Is there any program that they will be encouraged to settle outside of metro areas. So
Yes.
the economy can be spread out, and
Yeah.
there is more prosperity in the outer sides of out of the metro areas.
Yes, so the Atlantic Immigration Program was to encourage that. The Atlantic Canadian region attracted workers,
Okay.
skilled workers, but the retention rate there was lower than the rest of Canada.
Okay.
So we introduced the Atlantic Immigration Program as a way to work on the retention, keeping people there. And Nova Scotia now, for example, after 3 years of the Atlantic Immigration Program, has now had the same amount of retention percentages as the rest of the country.
Okay.
So you're seeing a huge improvement there because the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program has resulted in a flexibility to not only bring the skilled worker to Atlantic Canada,
Right.
but allow them to bring their family.
Uh-huh.
So once the family is there, the kids are in school, the spouse has a job, it's very hard for that person to then move to another part of Canada, right? So they tend to stay. The lessons we learned from Atlantic Canada are now being applied to the rest of the country through the new rural and northern immigration program.
Okay.
So that's another pilot program we've just introduced. We're working on it's a competition among different communities across the country. It's targeted towards rural and northern Canada. And again, that's another way to spread the benefits there.
Right.
And another way to do that is, the provincial nominee program is a great program that allows each province and territory to nominate people
Right.
based on their local needs.
Uh-huh.
And again, that program ensures that immigration is spread out. We've increased that program, the spaces, by 33%.
Oh, wow.
So that would mean that more people would take advantage of that. In budget 2019, we also introduced a new non-seasonal agricultural workers pilot program. So it captures non-seasonal agriculture, meat cutting industry, and butchery.
Okay.
Butchers. So those three were facing severe
That is
shortages.
year-round.
Yeah, so it's year round,
Right.
and those industries were facing severe shortages. And as a country, we have signed a number of, as a government,
Right.
Under the leadership of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Canada has signed three major free trade agreements. I remember a time when if Canada signed one, it would be such a big deal and it would be a cause for celebration. We've done three. One,
the new NAFTA?
The new NAFTA,
Right.
The Canada-Europe trade agreement, which is the most progressive trade agreement in the history, and the CPTPP, which gives Canada access for the first time to the Japanese market, Australia, New Zealand, Vietnam, Singapore, Malaysia, and 12 Asia-Pacific countries. So basically, when you combine Europe, CPTPP, and the US, Canadian businesses have access to billions of people,
Right.
in terms of customer access and export potential. But how will we achieve? So, for example, so since we have that access now,
Right.
one of the opportunities we have as a country is to export more meat, to export more agricultural products, agri-food business.
Right.
How will we do that if we're short of workers
That's right.
already,
Yeah.
before we even increase our volumes?
Right.
So we had to respond to that, and the new agricultural, agri-food and meat cutting industry pilot program will really help with that.
ਇਹਨਾਂ ਜਵਾਬ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਪਿਛਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਐਟਲਾਂਟਿਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਇੰਸਟੈਡ ਆਫ ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕ ਰਹਿਣ ਦੀ ਥਾਂ ਤੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਦੂਰ ਤੱਕ ਵੀ ਜਾ ਸਕਣ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਬੜਾ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ ਹੋਇਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਬੇਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਉਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਐਕਸਪੈਂਡ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਤੇ ਇਸ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ 3 ਬੜੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਫੈਸਲੇ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ, ਰਾਜੀਨਾਮੇ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਨਵਾਂ ਨਾਫਟਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਜੀ, ਯੂਰਪ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਤੇ ਈਸਟਰਨ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਜਾਪਾਨ ਵਗੈਰਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਈਵਨ ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਆ ਤੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਐਗਰੀਮੈਂਟ ਕੀਤਾ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਤੱਕ ਵੀ ਜਾ ਸਕੇ। You're talking about labor market impact assessment. There are new changes introduced. Can you tell me what are those new changes?
As you know, the labor market impact assessment comes under the Ministry of Employment, Workforce Development and Labor.
Right.
Because our economy is doing really well, we are now faced with the lowest unemployment numbers in 40 years.
Wow.
So the job market is doing well. There's
those numbers were just released, I guess, few weeks ago.
Over 1 million jobs created since we took office.
Right.
And that's because we have invested in Canadians, we've invested in communities, we've invested in transit, we've invested in affordable housing, and we've invested in growth.
Right.
And that's the difference between us and the Conservatives. The Conservatives cut community services. Look at the Ontario government, what they're doing, the Ontario Conservatives.
Right.
They're cutting programs that help real families, that help individuals to succeed.
Right.
That's not the way to grow the economy. You have to invest in the community. You have to invest in infrastructure.
Right.
You have to invest in transit and housing. You cannot cut your way to growth.
Right.
It doesn't work.
Right.
And we saw 10 years of Stephen Harper. We had a very sluggish economy, very little job numbers in terms of job growth. You're seeing the opposite with our government under the leadership of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. In terms of, so because the job situation is much better, more employers are using the LMIA.
Right.
Because there's just so much demand, right?
Yes.
For people to fill the jobs.
Yeah.
Because there's very low unemployment. And so the system is a little bit pressured because there's so many applications coming in.
Okay.
I know that the minister has spoken about more investments that she has made into the LMI processing capacity.
Right.
To make sure that more employers are able to use the program, but also to think more broadly about introducing a trusted employer program, for example,
right.
where you have, if you're an employer who's used the LMIA process and everything has been okay, the next time you use it, the next year, for example, then we don't ask you for the same documentation all over again. We have a more expedited process. And the other one is a proposal to sometimes lengthen the lifetime of the LMI from 1 year to 2 years. But those are ideas that are being brought forward by employers.
ਇਹਨਾਂ ਜਵਾਬ ਇਹ ਸੀਗਾ ਜੀ ਕਿ ਲੇਬਰ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਵੇਂ ਬੰਦੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੱਧ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਆ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈ, ਕੰਮ ਕਾਰ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਹੈ, ਨਵੇਂ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬੜੇ ਨਵੇਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਨਵੇਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ how about the refugees? मैं refugees बारे सवाल करने जा रहे हैं जी. Refugees, we brought in Syrian refugees,
yes.
which was a very good job done by your government. But there are refugees in other countries as well. For example, there are Hindus and Sikhs in Afghanistan.
Yes.
Which are, is there any program that those people can be brought in? Or
we have done that. I don't know if you know, but we have.
I know a few Sikhs coming to this.
Well, no, it's an ongoing process.
Okay,
so we've been working with the Manmeet Buller Foundation,
right,
to assist them to sponsor a number of Sikh and Hindu refugees from Afghanistan. Look, these are individuals who had faced religious persecution, and I spoke in the House of Commons twice about our government doing whatever we can to assist those individuals.
Right.
And through the Manmeet Buller Foundation, a number of families have already been sponsored. They're already in Canada. Others are being processed.
Right.
And there's a number of applications that are in place. So I have actually personally welcomed one of the first groups that arrived
from Afghanistan?
in a Gurdwara in Calgary, yes, okay. From Afghanistan. Well, through India.
Through India, yeah.
But they were sponsored by the foundation. There's others that have landed in British Columbia. So it's an ongoing process. Yeah.
मैं उन्होंने पूछा सीगा जी कि रेफ्यूजीज अपने हिंदू ते सिख रेफ्यूजीज अफगानिस्तान तो ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੁਝ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਕੁਝ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਕੁਝ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਅੰਡਰ ਈਵਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਆਇਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਰਿਸੀਵ ਕਰਨ ਵੀ ਗਏ ਸਨ
I want to say something about this though.
Sure.
This is an example, it's just one of many examples of which the previous Conservatives and the Conservatives now talk about,
right.
But they never did anything.
Okay.
We're the government that did something about this issue of helping Afghan Hindus and Sikhs.
Okay.
Concretely.
Right.
They talked about it.
That's great.
They had 10 years. They didn't do anything.
ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਵਾਬ ਇੱਕ
So we delivered.
ਐਡ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਸੀਗੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਪਰ ਐਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਅਮਲ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਅਮਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ, ਤੇ ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਤੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਅਫਗਾਨ ਰੈਫਿਊਜੀ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਇਸ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਸਕੇ ਨੇ। ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ, ਵੈਨ we are accepting refugees, we've been accepting refugees from day one.
Yes.
And I guess we are proud of it.
Yes.
But when the provincial governments talks about this thing, they say it's, for example, Ford government or the Toronto government, they say it's going to be too much burden on their systems. Is the federal government doing something to help them so they can allocate the proper place for the refugees coming to GTA or other metro areas?
First of all, let's separate the two levels of government.
Okay.
In terms of the City of Toronto, the mayor has been on record as asking for a little bit more help from the federal government, and we have delivered. And again, so he's been on record again thanking the government of Canada, the Trudeau government, for listening, for being there, and for working very closely with the City of Toronto. And so you can look, and it's not just once, but many times when the mayor, Mayor Tory, has personally thanked our government, the Trudeau government, for doing the right thing for Toronto. The issue of dealing with the needs of asylum seekers in our country has always been a collaborative effort between the federal government, the provincial government, and municipalities. And there's a recognition of that. And secondly, we also recognized very early that in 2017, 2018, there was an increase in the number of asylum seekers coming to GTA. So we understood that although it's a shared responsibility, that the government of Canada could help a little bit more, and we have. We've delivered $45 million to the City of Toronto. It's unfortunate that the province refused to come to the table and work with us. So we always told the City of Toronto that whether the province comes forward or not, we will not let you down, that we will be there for you, and we've delivered a substantial amount of money to the City of Toronto to help them with these pressures, especially on the issue of temporary housing.
ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਵਾਬ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਰੈਫਿਊਜੀ ਰਿਗਾਰਡਿੰਗ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਨੂੰ ਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਸੁਣਦੀ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਲੀ ਸਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੇਅਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਟੋਰੀ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਲੀ ਡੀਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਹਾਊਸਿੰਗ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨੀ। ਮੈਂ ਜਸਟ ਲਾਸਟ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ, ਆਈ ਗੈਸ ਯੂ ਆਰ ਰਨਿੰਗ ਆਊਟ ਆਫ ਟਾਈਮ, ਰਿਗਾਰਡਿੰਗ nanny program, is there any changes coming to the nanny program?
Yes, there is. So again, under the Conservatives, you had the old living caregiver program, which really resulted, what the Conservatives did is they didn't invest in the immigration system. And they neglected the processing. So what happened in the live-in caregiver program, you can look at the numbers don't lie. You had families being separated for 7 to 8 years.
That's right,
And they were waiting for a long time, and you had a huge backlog in that program. So we came in and we said, look, these are people who are providing services to Canadian families. We need to do a better job at being there for them when they want to sponsor their own families. And so I made a commitment to the community that we need to do better. And we said, okay, the backlog that we have, we will clear at least 80% of that backlog should be finished by the end of last year. We ended up actually over delivering. We ended up cleaning 94% of that backlog. So there was only 6% left, which is almost done. I think it's done by now. Second is the processing time. So we're now doing them in 12 months. Down from 7 to 8 years to 12 months. So that's for the remaining cases. For the moving forward, there will be no more family separation. If a caregiver is coming to work in Canada as a caregiver, they'll be assessed before they come. Once they come here, they can bring their spouse and their children. So there'll be no more family separation. They can bring them. The spouse will have an open work permit. The children will have a study permit, so they can go to school, and the caregiver will have an occupation-specific work permit where they have to work in the occupation, but if there's instances of abuse with a particular employee, they can go to another employer. So it just removes that whole problem of family separation.
Okay.
Processing time will be very, very fast. We will announce all the details in the fall, but that's essentially what we're looking at in moving forward for the caregivers.
ਇਹਨਾਂ ਜਵਾਬ ਇਹ ਸੀਗੇ ਨੈਨੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਨਵੇਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਅੰਤਰਗਤ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨੈਨੀ ਆਇਆ ਕਰੇ, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਬੈਕਲੌਗ ਸਾਰਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਰਿਮੂਵ ਕਰਦਾ, ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 6% ਹੀ ਰਹਿ ਗਿਆ। ਨਵੇਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਣਗੇ ਜੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨੈਨੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਲਿਆ ਸਕੇਗੀ ਤੇ ਈਵਨ ਉਹਦਾ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਆ ਸਕੇਗਾ, ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਸਕੇਗਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਸੌਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਟਾਈਮ ਵੀ ਰਨਿੰਗ ਆਊਟ ਆਫ ਟਾਈਮ। ਇਨ ਦੀ ਐਂਡ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ, ਵੁੱਡ ਯੂ ਲਾਈਕ ਟੂ ਸੇ ਐਨੀਥਿੰਗ ਟੂ
what I'll basically say is look at the record, look at the progress that has been made, look at the number of families that have been reunited. Even if you look specifically at different countries, we've improved the processing for the visas.
Right.
If you look at India, for example,
Right.
the Trudeau government, our government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, has issued 30% more visas
Right.
to visitors from India.
Okay.
So again, people can say whatever they want, but we have delivered. We've delivered on spousal sponsorship. We've delivered on citizenship. We are cracking down on unauthorized immigration consultants so that people don't get taken advantage of.
I have tons of questions.
And finally, on that one,
Yeah.
we will now, for the first time, have a compensation fund
Okay.
to compensate people who have been taken advantage of, who have lost money. We will have an insurance, liability insurance for
Right.
the new members of the board. We have doubled the criminal penalties to go after the people who are taking advantage of these victims. We are giving new tools to the new College of Immigration Consultants. So the system is working very well. We're very happy with our record. Andrew Scheer and the Conservatives, I believe, will cut the immigration levels.
Okay.
They don't have a plan. I listened to the speech that he made. There was no detail there. He has refused to commit to whether he will keep the numbers that we've introduced. We have a great track record to run on. I hope that people can judge us based on the record, and I believe that we have listened to communities and to Canadians and delivered an immigration system that works for them.
Minister, thanks for coming to your
Thank you.
studios. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
sir.
Appreciate
I appreciate that.
Thank you.